Hi, I'm Charlotte Smith, and my project is about mass shootings and problems about mass shootings and possible solutions. So my question is, how can Congress prevent mass shootings without threatening our right to the Second Amendment? And the infographic I created goes a little bit into what a mass shooting technically is, also the background and some statistics from today, kind of how gun violence is as of right now in our country. For example, like there's 55 suicide deaths a day from gun violence, and also I went into a little bit the problem between the trust as I look at this question more, and then also I found that background checks seem to be a common ground between Democrats and Republicans moving forward to try as a solution, and also ways that background checks could help. Also, this is quite a loaded question because it's not only very controversial, but there's no one answer to it, as technically nothing should threaten our right to the Second Amendment because it is part of the Bill of Rights and part of the Constitution. And also another thing about the Bill of Rights is nothing has been changed from the Bill of Rights since it was created, and it was never meant to be changed. So as of today and how it should be, nothing should change our Second Amendment, but there have been kind of different laws and gun control advocates that seem that they're going down a road that eventually want to take guns away from private ownership. And also, for example, today in our country we're going very different ways, with some people for the First Amendment, free speech, have been continuously pushing to expand our right of free speech and just that amendment in general, versus the Second Amendment only mostly people have been looking to ways to restrict it. So it kind of just shows the divide that is going on and how it's more difficult to find solutions to my question. One of the biggest problems of gun control and gun rights advocacy to finding a solution of gun violence is trust, and this kind of concept of compromise that is very hard between these two groups, because gun rights advocates believe that gun control advocates are looking only down the road to eventually taking away guns of private ownership, and there has been proof that, you know, like gun control advocates would eventually like to take guns away. So it's hard to know that in the end there's no there won't be a specific compromise, that they will always be wanting more, so it makes it one of the other things that's difficult. One of the biggest parts also of gun violence, and one of the things we need to address, is mental health, and it's more than just correcting who should get guns and who shouldn't. It's looking at the root of the problem, and I believe that that comes from our society, which has glorified gun violence through things like action movies, where, you know, like it seems so cool to kill a bunch of people, and then going to like the rap industry and different things like that, where our country has looked at violence as a way to glorify it. And this kind of, we want to target like the young age range, because that is the most influential as our society continues on, because there's only a certain number of laws that we can make that people won't still break. Like Adam Lanza from the Sandy Hook shooting, he broke more than 38 laws. Like if there was 40 laws, would then he have not killed everyone? So it's not only about laws. There's different solutions that people come up with. I believe that it's going, like I said, to the root of the problem, and it's to stop glorifying gun violence. If that's going to what influences people the most, then that should be most important. And it's ridiculing people that are mass shooters and using gun violence instead of glorifying it in a way. And so it's to belittle people that have used guns in a way that they shouldn't be, so different kinds of violence. And there's also different things like smart guns and new technology that is coming up with ways. So if you have a smart gun, that only you would be able to use the gun and fire the gun because it uses touch identification. And a couple things Congressman Thompson, who I've been working for, has kind of brought to the table are things like he's the chair of the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force, so he's pretty influential on what's going on, and he's introduced a new bill, HR 1565, and it's kind of expanding and strengthening background checks and different things like that, and closing loopholes for different things. And he also has had different things like opened town hall meetings for many different people from both sides of the argument to come in and share their concerns and what actions they believe Congress should take. And then he also came up with a couple different things. There's a longer list than this, but suggestions to the Obama administration, for example, like appointing an ATF director, which is alcohol, firearms, and tobacco, and kind of different things that he believes might be able to have more of an effective solution on gun violence in our country.